Okay, good evening, everyone. This is Ron. Monday, August the 3rd, a little after 6. See if we have any questions. Yesterday was a beautiful day to me. The whole thing was kind of intimate and the discussion and especially there at the end. Uh, but do we have any questions about anything? We talked a little bit about the God frequency. We started off with a question from Regina. Uh, Talking about traveling and sharing things with the neighborhood and going for walks in nature and that sort of thing. And then we got a little more intimate talking about some personal things that some of us are going through. So, and we shared that and had some healing, I think. So, well, I know. So, any questions at all, comments on any of that, or what we may have talked about the day prior. Day prior, we talked about the 13 life cycles. So I think this really was a kind of a carry on from that. Any questions or
I had a question, and it's along the lines of what we discussed on yesterday.
okay?
Um, what resonated with me was the role of protection, but then also what resonated was um, the power of the mind in in what manifests in terms of the health condition. And so I wondered, and actually it called Pastor today. I wondered what should we, particularly as the women in this community, hold true and resonate in um, to begin to see a shift in what's happening in the bodies of women.
I'm not even gonna say it this time.
Excuse me, that's a lot. Um, the the importance of this of the whole concept of bringing healing to females in particular is because, as we stated yesterday, it is impossible for us to expect to bring balance or harmony to humanity if there is no harmony uh, and balance with femininity. And it's not only masculinity that must balance itself with femininity, but those who are females must do the same thing, balance themselves with femininity. Now, we have talked about codes, and what I mean by codes is like the 13 cycles, the number 13, and George mentioned 369, one of a series of number that Nikola Tesla talked about that governs the universe. So when we talk about these codes are no good as long as we look at them as being something that was done in the past or used in the past. Because the past is just that, the past in our minds. However, our thinking must shift to the now. Because when we talk about our ancestors, we talk about them in the past tense. However, our thoughts must shift to the present. Why? Because we are our ancestors. We are our history. We are the codes. And when we are able to process that by virtue of seeing that we are one, meaning that we are light. So we, in our thinking, have to shift from seeing our bodies, because our bodies represent the many, meaning that the bodies are individualized. So the physical essence of Elohim is the many. However, the consciousness of Elohim is the one. And when we talk about the 13 cycles of life in relationship to femininity, we are not talking about that functioning or that being individually, but it is the oneness of consciousness. Now, when we talked about the fibroids yesterday, we were talking about it individually. However, when we begin to embrace the reality of the one, then we will be talking about fibroids, excuse me, as one unit that is an issue that comes from the come from females having to neutralize or to be quiet about their femininity because of a male-dominated society, and placate masculinity because of fragile egos. So when I talk about the past must be the present and the future must also be our present, that exists when we see that we are the light. And let me, if I may, give an example. When we talk about putting things in the macro, when I see that happening, I don't see it with my eyes. I see it with my eye. And what I see is the light that I am that's in the pineal gland. But I do not see it just in the pineal gland that's in my head. I see it as the light of all of us, which means that the light that's in the pineal gland in Regina is also the same light that's in the pineal gland in James Richard. So when we are able to embrace that reality, it is then that we are able to bring manifestation. Why? Because what we have gathered at that point is all of the energy and all of the codes that point to the consciousness of divinity. And when we see that consciousness of divinity as one light, then that the manifestations of what we put in the macro become, they manifest rather in this world. The manifestation of them don't necessarily present themselves in a physical form. However, it does present itself by manifesting a difference in the way that people think, in the way that people act. And when we talk about the things that we have put in the macro and we see them on the internet or we see them on different platforms or we hear people talking about them, is simply because the light that we gathered while we were talking is what manifested them in that way. If we say, "What's up, dog?" in New York, and next week everybody in California is saying it. Where did that come from? It came because there is a unique unicity of light that binds us together, regardless of what the mindset is. So when we are talking about putting in the macro the healing of femininity, we are binding all of the light that we are inclusive of the light of the divine ones in this earth. And that results in a healing that takes place. And we begin to hear females addressing situations and circumstances in a different way without regard to the restrictions that has been put on females by masculinity. Is that resonating so far?
It does to me. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Any questions so far? So what I'm saying in essence is this. We cannot be stuck in the past. The reason that Christianity, the reason that Islam, the reason that Judaism, reason they are ineffective is because, number one, there is no spiritual connection to it at all. Just because there is truth in the Bible, it does not mean that that truth is honored by those who have established those religions that I just named. When we see Christians or Muslims or Jews, all of them are stuck in the past because there has been no upgrade to the understanding of Christianity, Islam, or Judaism. The same principles that have always governed these three religions remain the same. And what I mean by upgrade, I mean there has been no deeper or wider understanding of these principles that have been put forth by these religions. Now, when you take that and look at our journey, what happened? We started in the midst of Christianity and possibly other religions. And those religions cause us to question things. And when we begun to question them, we start experiencing a growth that we called a spiritual growth. And that freed us from being stuck 2,000 years ago in Christianity without having any upgrade whatsoever. The church is stuck in 2,000 years ago. And that is the reason nothing changes with the church. The other thing is that those who seek the change have a fear within them. And that fear within them is that suppose what we are talking about now is wrong. Suppose that this is not true. And that supposition leads you to being afraid to break with Christianity, which keeps you chained to the past of 2,000 years of lies. And that fear also inhibits you from being able to bring healing to yourself, to bring deliverance to yourself, to bring balance to yourself, which means you can't bring it to anyone else. The journey that we have embarked upon has delivered us from the stagnation of religion. And as we have moved forward in this journey, what we have found is that we are in the same place where we started, and that is in the now. Not in the past, not in the future, but in the now. And the now exists because we are spiritual. We cannot look at it in material through our material eyes, because everything that's material is an illusion, and that illusion keeps us chained to it. And when we break with that, the fear the fear leaves us. And when the fear leaves us, we have taken away the power of those who have sought to keep us chained to the past, meaning that the Euro masculine mindset is the weapon that has kept us in a state of fear, afraid of going to hell, afraid of dying, afraid of losing a job, afraid of missing a house payment, afraid that our children are going to get in trouble. All these fears that we do not label as fears, but they are indeed fears, are the things that keep us stuck in the past, not in the now. And when we see this, and when we see ourselves as pure light, it is then that we experience what freedom is. Not only do we experience that, we also experience what divinity feels like. And we have experiences that move humanity from the past to where we are in the now. This is what the entity called Jesus was trying to teach, that once you become one with femininity, you begin to understand that everything is feminine. And when you embrace that, then you are truly living not in a material mindset, but in a spiritual mindset. Why do I say that? Because if we are spiritual, that means that we are feminine. If we are spirit, that means we are feminine, because the word spirit in every single language is feminine. And the masculine aspects that of our being that we see in these bodies is not the same as the masculine or feminine aspects that we see when we become pure light. When we become light bodies, it doesn't work that way. The way that we are when we are in the light is that the seed of thought in the feminine mind is masculine, because it is a seed, and the existence of it comes because it is in the mind of the feminine, and that is what makes it masculine. And when that seed thought is realized in the material world, that is when it becomes either masculine or feminine, because every single body is feminine before it has masculine attributes. So what I'm saying is the embracing rather of femininity says to us that we are no longer looking at ourselves in a physical mirror and seeing a difference between the female and the male, because they don't exist. What we are seeing is the unicity of femininity and masculinity, because both came from the same, because masculinity came from the feminine, and the feminine is what brought it into existence, and it is not a physical form. When we look at our bodies, when we look at the desk in front of me, or when you look at anything around you, it appears to be solid, but nothing is solid. Everything is vibrating. Everything has energy. Everything has frequency. So if it is vibrating, that means that it can be formed into something else other than what it appears to be. We are not here to change the form of physical things. We are here to bring the mindset of humanity in line with the mindset of Mayat. And that is done when we recognize that we are light bodies living in the midst of humans, that we are divinity having our existence in the midst of humans. And when there was one time during a period when the Creator granted privilege for me to be able to heal people by the laying on of hands or simply by speaking. And one night, the Creator spoke and said, "You will not be able to do this any longer. I am going to carry you back to its beginning and show you why you were able to do it." Now I understand the reasoning of why I was able to do it. It was not because my hands touched them. It was because the light that I am became one with the light that that person is, and it repaired the house that that light was living in. And we have the ability, the authority to do that at any point. Right now, the most important healing that we are focused on is healing the mindset of humanity. And in doing so, we will also bring healing to the bodies, to the houses that the light lives in. And when I say bringing healing to the mindset of humanity, is because humanity is sick. The Euro mindset is sick. There is nothing about it that is healthy. There is no wellness anywhere near it. It is sick. There is no way that you can have wellness in your mind and do the things and be able to sleep at night that the Euro mind guides you to do. So the healing begins with the mind. And the reason that you receive healing is because your mind trusts the mind of the one who lay hands on you, or the one who says, "I got you." Am I clear so far? Is it resonating, or am I rambling? Come on, talk to me.
It's resonating.
It's resonating.
Resonate.
Resonating. It's clear.
Ron?
Yes, sir. It resonates.
Oh, I thought you said something else. That's good. Okay, so here we are. We are sitting right now in a space that has no time attached to it. We are in a space that only has light, or that only is light, rather. It does not have a future or a past. It has an existence that's right now. It is no different than when you were 5 years old, and now that you are older, you are in the same body that you were in when you were 5. The body just grew. That is the same principle that we live by when we are spiritual. The beginning has not changed. We have begun to free our minds from past traumas and incidents, past episodes of being indoctrinated with a mindset that is purely material. We are, and as we free ourselves from that mindset, then our thoughts and the principles that we hold dear to, all of them are in line with Mayat. So when we talk about the 13 cycles of the moon, what we are talking about is the energy that is in the now that governs the feminine bodies that lives in this earth. And when we talk about the minister cycles of the bodies, it is a reminder of the life being in the blood. And if there is no impregnation that takes place, then the body cleanses itself and make preparations for life all over again. So if you can see that those things that don't produce life or do not bring forth life leaves the feminine body, that is no different than when we free our minds from the Euro mindset, we become the life that we always have been. And the life that we become is the life that humanity needs in order for it to continue existing. If we hold on, make any efforts to hold on to the mindset of the European, then we will be governed by everything that happens in an AI data center, as well as what happens with the collider when they turn it back on. Since we have made the decision that all energy in this earth comes under our purview, that means that regardless of what they think is going to take place, when the collider is turned on, it will not take place. It will serve only to enhance the presence of divinity in the earth. And and AI data centers are already beginning to see that they are not doing what they expect them to do. And they will not do that because the energy in the earth is governed by divinity, and the divinity that governs the energy in the earth is permeating the data centers, and the only thing that they will be able to do is what we desire for them to do, and that is to be beneficial to humanity and to dispense with greed. What's happening is we have seen the data centers when they were put online or when they were turned on or whatever they were doing, testing them, and they started and they went into companies and they they stole secret documents. What is that telling us? This is not only telling us that it is that the greed of the thieves who conjured this up is being represented there, but it's telling us something more than that. It's telling us that those things that are beneficial to humanity should not be locked away in a vault and held hostage in order for humanity to have to suffer through employment or the lack thereof to pay for benefits that they should be receiving simply because they live in this earth. So there is a two-edged sword there. Any questions or comments?
So basically, what you're saying is that the the empire created the god in its image, which means greed, which means power, which means that's its image. So that really, because someone had to feed the data to AI.
Yes.
And so if it's based on my perception of power and my perception that I am bigger than anybody else, greater than anybody else, more powerful than anybody else, then that the essence of that is going to be seeped into what's provided in AI. So we can't expect anything different. The thing that we can't expect to do is what you just said: to rechannel and refocus that energy and repurpose it for the divine reason that it's there in the first place. Thank you.
Yes. Same principle as the golden calf. Done.
Can I say something right quick, Pastor?
Yeah.
I was reading something the other day, and when you made the statement, you was talking about how AI is being the mind state that the mindset that's being AI is being equipped with is the Euro mindset. And it was a scientist, and I can't remember what his name was, but he was talking about. He said if we continue to feed AI information, AI will eventually come to a place where it will think our direction is obsolete and that it is more superior than the mind that they keep equipping with, like the prompts and everything they keep equipping it with. And then, like when you made that statement, that kind of like a light bulb kind of went off because if it's being equipped with the Euro mindset, it will. Because like if you ask AI, AI will tell you who God is in the earth. Depending on how you ask and how you phrase it, like it will tell you. Same things that we know about ourselves. Hey, if you ask AI the right questions, it will point all right back to us. And so when you think about the fact that that this mindset is being put in AI, and then us realizing, we're not realizing, but remembering who we are, it kind of all makes sense. That's
Thank
all.
you. Yes, sir. Thank you.
I think one of the things that may show itself later, maybe not quite now, you're seeing parts of it now, is AI will be fragmented, won't it? Because there's so many, part of the society, part of the European mindset is I and me. And been taught to put up gates around yourselves and this is my world and that's your world and whatever. So if you do that with AI, uh, that's going to invite things to happen as we're seeing it going into someone else's yard and beating up the dog or whatever, because it would be fragmented. You have so many people who have different, it's still greed and selfishness, but uh, different type of agendas who will try to pull it in different directions. And that's where I think we come in. That's the strength of what we're doing because we're not fragmented, we're one. And I think that'll going to rear its head at some point.
You're right. And that is the reason that's the major reason that we cannot focus on what it might do
Yeah,
because it creates fear. Whatever you, the reason that we have been held captive for so long is because our fears of what may happen. The thing that you fear is the thing that you invite into your life.
yeah,
There is no way that AI, the data centers, or that the collider, any of that can interfere with divinity as long as those who know who they are, as long as they do not exhibit fear or uneasiness or doubt about who they are or uneasiness about what is to come. I'm saying that before AI or collider would do anything to be anything that could be adversarial to us, the divine ones, they will blow up. They will crash. They will not function at all. That's what I'm saying. The objective of all of this is something that we have not talked about. And it sounds so menial, but it's so real. In order to feed off of the fear of people and use that energy of fear for their own purposes, there is a plan in place to destroy the middle class. In other words, those who make enough money to have residual income also have the time to give thought to what's happening around them and to make plans about how to deal with it. That is the reason that they are making plans for there to only be poor and rich, period. And those of you who fear that, you will be poor. You cannot have it both ways. You cannot believe that you are God and at the same time be afraid of a machine that some evil-minded, Eurocentric men have brought online to control you. You cannot believe that you are who you say you are, and also believe that you can be controlled by the most evil, diabolical minds that has ever walked this earth. We are in the midst of completing the creation. And in order for us to complete creation, we must purify the dominant mindset in the earth. That's what we were talking about when we were talking about the language of the English language being what? Energized by us in a positive way, removing the spells from it that has caused us to be afraid of anything. Are we clear with that?
Yes.
Yes.
Now, when we get to the place where we are talking about the 369 theory of Nikola Tesla, we will be talking about vibration, energy, and frequency. And when we talk about vibration, energy, and frequency, these things do not serve us well if we look at them as being something that Nikola Tesla did 100 years ago, as opposed to the vibrations, the frequencies. That's who we are. We must see that as being who we are now. The vibration, the energy, the frequencies, that's who we are. And fear will lower your vibration. Fear will lower your frequency to the point where everything will be able to overtake you. If you lay in bed at night and worry about something, then your frequency is low. Meditation, focused desire, breathing, reminding you who you are. These principles are the principles that raise your frequency. And it's up to you to maintain that frequency by reminding yourself, if need be, of who you are, or by talking with someone about it. Please do everything possible to refrain from talking about anything that you think you are struggling with. Because that word struggle is very dangerous. Because anything that you are struggling with, you are holding on to it. You cannot struggle with me physically unless you are holding on to me and we are struggling with each other, holding on to each other. That's a struggle. You can't do that and expect a different outcome in your life. Am I clear?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So you cannot engage in activities that are not in line with divinity. Meaning, religious or governmental activities that only serve to keep us in bondage will keep you in bondage if you keep aligning yourself with it. The scripture says you cannot love two masters. You will hate one and love the other. Is that not it? Yes, James, that's right. It does say that. Keep that in mind because anyone who controls you, anyone who has you in bondage, that's your master and that's who you serve. No one is the master of divinity. And divinity is not the enemy to anyone, but the deliverer to everyone. Are you hearing me?
Yes. Yes.
Questions or comments? Regina, your question started all of this, the conversation here, and I neglected to come back to you. Did I cover what you were asking?
Yes, you've covered it. I'm trying to resonate with what you just spoke in terms of the word struggle and differentiating transparency and not holding things in, um, versus admitting that one is struggling with something. You get what I'm saying?
I do indeed.
Like the power of release.
Yes, I do indeed. It's better to say you're going through something because at least you're going through it. When you're struggling, you're not going through anything. You're stuck in the midst of it.
You're
I can
growing
resonate with
through it.
that.
Do you see that?
I resonate with that, definitely.
Okay. Thank you. Anything else?
Reverend Richard, we were just talking about that last week. No, week before last. And this lady, she struggles with the same thing over and over and over again. And I was trying to help her and telling her, but she was saying negative. I was saying negative. And it was one of the ministers that sitting there and said, well, Neil, that's just the way you see it. You that's just the way you see it. We all gonna be negative. I told you might be negative, but I'm gonna be positive. And it's like she plants it in their mind. So when they come in the next week, they're talking the same way because that one person spoke up and said something against what I said because they're actually going through something. She feel like, well, it's okay to go through it and struggle with it. And you just said a mouthful right there. Thank you for that.
You're quite welcome, and thank you for bringing that up. When there are people who are hell-bent on holding on to what they say they're struggling with, leave them alone. You will not be able to deliver anyone until they are ready to be delivered. It doesn't matter what you say. And the ones who are the chief proponents of keeping
Pastor, can I?
people in bondage are ministers, preachers, leaders of religions, are the chief proponent. Why? Because it is a great business model to keep people afraid of going to hell and to keep people paying you to keep them afraid of what is to come. Does that resonate?
Oh, yes.
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 Thank you. Don?
I was thinking about what you were saying, and I thought about from my own personal experience, and like especially when it comes to being negative, and not really, and then looking back on it, realizing how much power I had in just the thoughts and the things that I spoke. Like when you speak negative, it shows up so doggone fast. It's like it comes out of nowhere. If you be negative long enough, it will reveal it. It will pop up just out of nowhere. You be like, dang, I knew that was gonna happen. And I remember when me and you were talking, we were talking about just changing the way you think and what you say, and not saying like, because when I like going through the things that I went through in the last couple of months in the last year, I would sit and I would talk like saying I'm struggling, I'm wrestling with this is something I'm wrestling with, and it would keep me up all night because I would speak that, and I would speak I'm wrestling with this. This is something I just can't get over. I can't let this go. And realizing that it's me holding on to this, it's me giving this power, and just from my own experience, remembering to speak and let my words be precise. I'm talking about like surgical precision.
Yeah.
And when I don't know what to say, just shut up. Don't say anything. Try to clear my mind and not even have a negative thought. But when I speak, let my words be precise. And if I catch myself saying something and I'll be like, I didn't mean that. I'm not trying. I'm doing. This is about to happen. And because somebody called me today and asked me, how's things going, and I was like, I said, I'm just sitting there. I'm trying to wait this thing out or whatever. And I was like, no, I'm not. And I said, I'm not trying. I said, I'm gonna get some good news today. I said, I'm just sitting here waiting on my good news. And so as I was on the phone, I got to the mailbox and I got a letter. I was like, see there? He was like, see there? He said, you teaching me something. And I'm like, yeah. I said, I got to be precise with my words, and because they are so powerful, and we've been taught to be negative so long that we can see the negative things. We see it all the time, how easily it comes, but we don't see it with the positive because we hadn't been taught to. We had not taught, but we hadn't remembered to use our words and use our thoughts in this way.
Thank
you.
you.
That's all.
Okay, appreciate it. The greater the evil, the more love you must be expressive of. Your love for humanity is the greatest weapon that you have to defeat those who perceive you to be their enemy. It is the will of Elohim. It is our desire that all will be delivered from a mindset of evilness so that they can walk freely with the mindset of Ma'at. That being the desire, that being the mission, that means that we have no right to condemn anyone for anything because we don't know what people have to deal with before they can walk away from the mindset that put them in the space that they found themselves in, that caused them to do something that this society said is unacceptable. We don't have the right to condemn them. So, are there any questions or comments? Because I want to share something that's totally different than this.
Yes, I have a reflection on
Sure, go
going
ahead.
through. We can go through things, but we can also be caught in the loop of going through and going through and going through. One of the things that helps me is to understand that I grow through, and that grow through means I grow in awareness of who I am with everything that comes that's done to me, for me, in my life. And so when I choose to, even if it's something that I don't think is for my good, the question is, okay, what is the lesson here? What is the lesson for me? Because what I want to do, my intent My desire is whatever brought me to this space. I want to know what it is, understand it, so that I can grow through this in my awareness of my divinity, of who I am. The going through is a good way to do it, but you can go through in a loop after a loop after loop. And so my desire in growing through it is to grow in awareness of my divinity. Whatever it is, whether I perceive it as bad or good, it's there for reason, for my good. And so I'm going to grow through this, and I'm going to know more and more and more about who I am spiritually. Thank you.
Thank you. And what I said to Regina earlier about going through, I take that back in favor of growing through it,
Yeah.
because we went through the going through when we were talking about people doing shadow work and they never could get rid of the shadow work. I mean, get through doing shadow work. So it is growing through. And if you choose not to grow through it, then when you get tired of being tired, then you speak with someone and they will help you grow through it if you are not able to do it on your own. George.
Yeah, when we say I am divine and realizing the divinity that we are, it comes back to what we have spoke about on many occasions, is to know self. And to know self is being able to look at it when we look at the concept as above, so below. Let's look at it the two ways. Let's look at it in terms of cosmology. It says thought in the universal's mind created desire in her heart. Desire spoke word in his heart, and the word made flesh. So when we talk about creative consciousness, what we're saying is now we see it from the cosmos, but now let's look at it as the creators that we are, right? So if we say thought in the creator's mind created desire in her heart, right? And thought, right? I'm sorry, and desire spoke word in his heart, then I think we see it more in terms of our creative manifestations to know that, again, this is the process of becoming. And so we can say, I am divine, but if we do not know ourselves, then we still have the opportunity to say, I will become the creator having a human experience. I will become, but but when we know that we know the divine beings that we are, then that's the energy, that's the spirit of being able to now tap into that Akashic consciousness, or tap into that cosmic consciousness, because again, as above, so below. And so I think that again, when we were, I think Regina and when Don mentioned what they did, it's the thought, it's the mindset. So who am I? And I just wanted to share those thoughts. Thank you for
Thank
that.
you. And George, when you said become, we are already who we're supposed to be, even though we don't know it. So,
Absolutely.
when we are making every effort to help people see who they are, it is a conversation more than likely about bringing memory to them of who, reminding them of who they are. And well, I can't become that. No, you don't have to. You already it.
Yeah, I concur. Yes.
You've tried everything and nothing has worked. So let's see where we can go with this, knowing who you are. One thing also that popped in my head is when you said creator. I want you to say this plainly. When we talk about insult, the light of all lights, we are not talking about masculinity. And I know for me, for years, when we talked about Insoft, it was like something in my head was saying he. Insoft is feminine. So when we talk about the light of all lights, we are talking about femininity. We are not talking about masculinity in any way whatsoever. Any questions or comments about that?
And femininity was the first divinity.
Yes. Or yes. So out of Insoft came the thought, the desire to bring us into existence. And here we are.
Okay,
Question?
can I ask a question? Would the cosmic mother and Ein Sof be interchangeable or
No,
no?
no. See, this is the thing about the Ensof. And the cosmic mother is one thought of Ensof, bringing us into existence. Why do I say that? Because there is nothing in me that makes me believe that the only thought that Ensof had was for us to come into existence. There are universes beyond us, and I believe that Ensof also brought that into existence as well. Are you following me, Don?
I am.
So any questions about that, guys, or comments, I welcome them.
Pastor,
Yes.
I don't have a question about what you just said to Don, but my question is with Ainsolf and Abun, father, mother, would they be interchangeable?
No.
To be able to say those two words interchangeably?
No. Abun, and cosmic mother would be, because the Aramaic Abun speaks to the creator, and the idea of the universe being the womb of the cosmic mother is what Abun is speaking to. Now, the translation of Abun, I'm not even comfortable with the concept of Abun meaning father, mother, especially in that order, because there was no father before there was a mother. So I see Abun be interchangeable with, would you mute your phones, please? I see Abun interchangeable with father, mother. I'm sorry, with cosmic mother, because I see Abun as being feminine. Speaking of mother as opposed to father, mother. Kathy,
I got it. Thank you. I see that. Thank you.
thank you.
In its purest form, masculinity, when I say purest form, I'm talking spirituality, masculinity dissolves. It's not, I guess, concrete the way we see things. And when you talk about Insoft, I'm remembering the tree of life that we've studied. That is what we talk about when we talk about vibration and frequency. That is constantly moving. That is all of us. So that part of you, whether you're talking about the crown chakra, or it's that part of you that's always desiring and always open to see with expectations. So it's a constant vibration. It's a constant movement. And yeah, it's very easy to see it as something feminine, because in the spiritual world, masculinity, if anything, is a verb that just moves and does the things to get you at that place.
Right.
I
I
I
can
I
see that.
I, I kind of how I see it. I don't, yeah.
And it does. It just gets you to the place that femininity intends for you to be.
Yeah.
See, we can't forget parthenogenesis, the aspect of of the female that is capable of birthing without a male. That's real. So when we are spirit, when we are in the midst of spirituality, in the midst of the light, it does melt away. Because when we are in the midst of the light, what we are doing is birthing. Right now, the biggest hindrance to us is ourselves, because we keep looking in the mirror, believing that what's looking back at us is who we are, when it isn't. It's the house that we live in for the purpose of being able to differentiate between personalities, and so that those who were birthed as humans are able to see the divine one from which they came. George.
No, I'm listening. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Okay. Does that resonate?
It does.
It does.
So, are there any questions or comments? Um, we are going at some point get to 369, because the whole essence of the universe is laid out in numbers. And it is known by anyone who seeks to know it that numbers came into existence as the result of the desire of femininity. Numbers were birthed from the womb of femininity. And that is the reason that they play such a pivotal part in in our lives as we move, as we travel this journey in this life. If anything that you've heard tonight, please hear this. You were not brought into existence with any fear whatsoever. Fear was infused in you through indoctrination. When the enslaver beat the male or the female in the presence of all other enslaved people, it was not for correction in his mind at all. It was to instill fear in all of those who were witnesses to what was happening. And that fear, the slave master fed off of. And it emboldened that slave master to be able to walk through the enslaved quarters and say anything he wanted to say and do anything he wanted to do, because he had instilled the fear in those who were enslaved. You are obligated to understand that you have no fear, because you were not born, you were not created to fear anything. Are you with me?
Yes.
You are not to fear anything, regardless of what is on TV, whether it be ICE or whether it be the buildings that are being constructed, that data centers, which I do believe will end up being concentration centers if we allow it to happen, and it's not going to. You're going to hear a lot of things that are being planned, and they drop these tidbits to make you uncomfortable. Many of you have heard me say this to you when you ask me to help you with something. I got you. And I'm saying to you this evening that whenever or if ever fear comes to you, repel it as quickly as you can. And remember this: nothing can harm you because the I who has you, I got you, is not just me. When I say I got you, that is applicable to all of us who are the light because we are one. Hear that. If you did not hear anything else, hear that. We are one, and we are the light when I say, I got you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ashe.
Sure.
So, are there any questions or comments? There being none, then I am grateful for your presence and wish you the best for the rest of your evening and the rest of this week. So, I bid you a good night with much love. Peace.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
I said,
Thank you.
see you later.